Tuna! I think she's waiting for fireworks again. You're waiting for some popping? No? There's not going to be popping here tonight, baby. You're safe. We are in a little community called Cape George, or Jorge, if you know your French. Kind of brittle right now. I think a couple of things are going on. It's got me restless and anxious. And I opened the door and then saw in the same split second that the key was in the ignition and was bracing for that ping, ping, ping. Those chimes that are in cars that are... But enough about that. I am brittle, but that's okay. I'm in a really good spot. The weather's cool. It was warm today, maybe in the 70s, maybe like 71 or 2, but warm. And now it's cool. It's probably just under 70, but with the sun down, feels a lot cooler. Just want to share the vibes with you real quick. This is a little community back here called Cape George. There's a little marina down here. This is all private, I think. It's like a neighborhood basically, but it's not gated. There were probably some signs as we came in, but we're driving like right into the sunset, so I didn't see anything, which was also kind of ticking me off because that's not a good way to drive, especially on unknown roads. But we're looking across Olympic Peninsula there. You're probably looking at a lot of it just right there, and it's a huge piece of land, but some of these mountains in the back are like Hurricane Ridge and the Olympic Range from where we're at. Sorry for the shaky cam. I'm really fascinated by this depth of field experience right here. Look at that, man. I know it's probably not that cool for everybody, but I just love having when I took art classes, this is one of the first things that they went over. I say taught us or showed us or demonstrated or that we practice is like shading like that, so the item in the foreground is much darker than the one behind that, and then they just fade into lighter and lighter colors, and that's how they kind of stand out. And that kind of that change in intensity of color is attributed to the atmosphere. Obviously there's particulates and dust, moisture, humidity, oxygen that we breathe, the nitrogen that's in the air, all of that stuff is kind of contributing. So obviously if something were right here in front of us, it would be even bolder in color, darker in color, brighter, more vivid. So case in point, all of this stuff right here just kind of get some color from the sun setting, but you understand what I'm saying. But I've just been fixed on this most of the time that we've been here. I just love seeing it, and now that the sun is really getting low, it's even more pronounced or easier to see maybe. And we're coming across here. You're not really looking at Squim or Port Angeles, but they're right around the bends here, respectively, maybe a little past that long piece of land that you're looking at there. And we're panning here north toward the setting sun, which is setting just over Protection Island, which I think is like a wildlife refuge, wildlife protected area, something of that nature. So I don't think it has human visitors, or if it does, it's like on a limited basis or something of that nature. And as we pan further right and moving north, there's a bird dropping down into the water. I hope I'm getting some of that. I was practicing all day yesterday, not following the birds with my camera, the viewfinder in the camera, but rather just getting the viewfinder zeroed on where basically the bridge of my nose is facing, or between my eyes, or zeroing it basically the way you would a rifle or a weapon of some sort. And then instead of looking for the bird in the camera, I just watch the bird with my eyes and move my shoulders and torso and everything together. But as we move, and that was kind of working out, by the way, but it was some fast little birds that they were really hard, so it was fun practice. as we move north and to the right here, you're looking at here parts of Canada. I'm not exactly sure where. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit here. Port Angeles is right around the corner here. How far would you say, Luna? Like 50 miles maybe? I don't know. And then you can take the ferry across the Strait of Juan de Fuca to Victoria, which is probably behind Protection Island from our vantage point. But that's probably all Canada up there. I mean, you know, we're generally looking at Canada, whether each individual landmass is technically or officially Canadian or not. I would only be able to speculate, but as we move this direction further north and up along the beach here of Cape George, you're looking in the direction of Vancouver, the city, the Canadian city. I don't think you'll be able to see it here even on the clearest day. Maybe you'll be able to see some light if the atmospheric conditions are right. But that's how close we are to Canada. That's how close we've been to Canada. So this is basically all border. But rather than it being a land border, this is all, you know, maritime border. This is all water. Right there goes the setting sun. We'll get back over to yeah, she's chilling. She had her eyes glued shut till I came up to the door. Yeah, I've been pretty anxious. I think about a couple of things, just some uncertainty, but you know, it's all good. I'm just kind of dealing with that. There's that dinging noise. I'm just rolling the windows up to make sure that she's not getting cold, but man. Whoever designed or implemented all of that dinging and binging and ringing and chiming and whatever in these vehicles, and I've turned a lot of those off. It was worse. I've turned a lot of them off. You just can't turn them all off. But whoever designed that stuff is a real a-hole. That is so annoying. And you might say like a safety thing or a courtesy thing, but I don't know, man. I'd rather just be cognizant and aware of, you know, the fact that my key was in the ignition or the ignition was on or whatever. I don't need that much help. I don't need that kind of help. You know, that's like you left your key in the ignition and the ignition's on and somebody just comes up and whacks you in the face with a pan. It's like, I think I would have rather just dealt with a dead battery, because that's annoying. And don't get me started, but like electric vehicles, who decided that those things were going to be noisier than internal combustion engines? Like the humming noise that they make when you drive, and the backup noise. Why does everything make a reverse noise now? Like, can you imagine a city of 1 million cars and everybody's leaving for work at 6, 7 in the morning, backing out of their driveway, and you've got to hear that beeping, and they're all different beeps, competitively annoying, you know? Oh, it's trash. But that's why we're here at the edge of the earth, looking at Protection Island, thinking about what I need to do to classify as a wild animal and a protected or endangered species, so that they can move me over there and I can be freed from the bondage of our noisy civilization. We're looking west, but I'm panning south here just to show you these ranges. I'm going to zoom out as is appropriate to make sure all the landmass stays in the frame, but just letting you see all of this stuff. It's so beautiful. It's so cool to see. Look at that. Come on, let's take a I thought I took a picture earlier. I probably didn't. Screenshot. So yeah, that's it. I just wanted to share some of sunset with you. I don't know that I'm even going to have sufficient internet to be uploading this anytime soon. We've actually gotten lucky with internet a couple of places that we've been recently. And so that's nice. So now I feel ambitious about recording stuff, thinking that I'm going to be able to upload it. And I'm probably not. That's okay. That's all right. It'll sit on my phone. Maybe they'll uncover it in an archaeological dig 1,000 years from now and get to discover what was going down on the street. Plus, I'm losing things now. I'm losing little things. That's all right. I just need to recalibrate everything. But yeah, we're in. Well, we're technically in Cape George, but we're a few miles away from Port Townsend, which is actually on the other side of this little peninsula that we're on and facing east. So we'll be able to check that out in the morning and see how morning looks with the sun coming in from the direction of Whidbey Island, I guess, you know, in the Seattle part of Washington State, that area. We'll see that in the morning and maybe get to do some discovery around town there and see what it looks like for a couple of days, maybe, right? Is that what you were thinking? Or okay. Before we move on. So greetings from Washington State and Port Townsend, and getting ready to embark on a little ferry trip across toward the mainland. So I think we might be wrapping up our time on Olympic Peninsula officially, technically. I was just journaling a little bit, which I really don't do, so forget I even said that. I just scribble sometimes just so I don't feel like I'm wasting the paper or the pens that I purchase. Shout out alliteration. But I was just remarking how fortunate I feel to have been able to take my time going around the peninsula, and we really just skirted the outside. We went into Olympic National Park a few times, depending on where we were. But a lot of our time has been spent on or along the shore, near the shore. It's been a lot of fun. I really, excuse the yawning, I like being close to the water a lot. And I really like the Pacific, which we haven't seen the Pacific in days now. That's a little sad. We may be making our way back over there. We'll see how the weather holds up inland. I'll tell you that much, because I'm not doing 85, 90 degree days. It's just not. There's no need to. There's no need to. If I'm operating on as a shoestring of an operation as I am, there's no point in suffering through the same, heat and presumably humidity that I could be enjoying back home in the South, either in Tennessee or in Houston. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll end up back on the coast, just hugging the water and trying to stay cool. But for the time being, from our lovely accommodations here in the Port Townsend greater metro area, so long and good night.